Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at the different types of evidence for the existence of God. Many people come to faith by different journeys, but the defense for faith will inevitably take into consideration different types of thought processes to conclude that God exists. If it is your first time here, welcome. I'm happy you're here. My name is Gigi, and I'm on a very exciting journey to wisdom, better critical thinking, and everything in between. I, of course, invite you to join me on this journey as I share thoughts on faith, current events, social media topics, and random quick thoughts that make you and I just think better and be better. If that sounds good to you, subscribe today, and let's do it together. So I got sick in the last few weeks and lost my voice, but now I'm better and I'm able to record. So voila, let's pick up where we had left off. This is the Christian Apologetics series where I show why believing in a creator and all-powerful God is not irrational, quite the contrary. It's the most reasonable conclusion to arrive to. If you've missed the previous episodes, I recommend you pause this one and catch up first. So, what are the different arguments for the defense of the faith? Well, today I will present the first three arguments for God. As we saw in my last episode, Christians and all theists simply know that time, space, and matter comes from a being outside of those three components of our reality. So the first argument for that is the order and complexity of our world. When we observe the order and complexity, we know that our universe shows a remarkable degree of order and complexity and fine-tuning, whether it's the elaborate, structure of any living thing to the very, very precise physical rules that govern the behavior of matter and energy. There's evidence that something very intelligent or someone very intelligent designed that order, right? For example, the study of our own DNA shows just how a designer was necessary, right? It contains information. So from that information, even to the the helix structure that we learned in school, to how it's passed down, how DNA is passed down from, one person to their children. Everything in there shows it's not accident, and it certainly isn't any random structure. It's very, very intricate. Another thing that gets me personally convinced is the beauty and aesthetics in nature. That's part of the complexity of it all. The beauty and the elegance found in natural elements. The symmetry of like a snowflake, for example. The pattern of that are present when you're looking at a butterfly. The very existence and appearance of a peacock. Can you believe? When I was younger, I used to have a peacock where I'm from in my home country, and when I looked at it, just the qualities of the peacock and to look at the beauty of it, I can think of the qualities of a chameleon as well. I mean, come on, how, right? So the order, the complexity, and the beauty of our world tells me and tells many other people who have the same belief that it had to have come from an intention somewhere. The second argument I will present here is the argument of consciousness itself. You have probably heard this in the past if you have done philosophy classes or any type of really, really great conversation among friends. So the argument for God based on consciousness is as I said, it's philosophical. It's a philosophical argument that, it positions, or I guess it talks about the existence of a divine being. So God as the best explanation for the existence and nature of our consciousness. So because we know that we're conscious, we know that consciousness exists. So it's a fundamental aspect of our, human experience. It distinguishes us humans from things that are unconscious, like a rock or a chair or water, for example. Consciousness, as we know it, is our thoughts, our perceptions, our emotions, our subjective awareness of the world. So it cannot be reduced to purely physical processes. In other words, the fact that we are conscious beings capable of those thoughts and perceptions and of those emotions, it could not have occurred from just a Big Bang alone and nothing conscious behind. The unconscious does not give birth to the conscious, right? Consciousness means, things such as intentionality and subjectivity and self-awareness, which would contradict, reductionist explanations in terms of purely physical phenomenons like a Big Bang, for example. So the consciousness argument just states that from the unconscious cannot come the conscience. We have to have come from a conscious place, a conscious mind to be able for ourselves to be conscious. That's the argument. There's a third argument. The third argument for the existence of God is, well, math. Yes, mathematics. This argument is based upon the necessity and universality of math principles, and it seeks to explain their origin and their nature. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was younger and in school, I was good in math, but I didn't particularly enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I hated it because I thought it was boring. Oh, how times have changed, because now I'm able to see that math is so interesting because it's a concept so fundamental to our existence and understanding. Yet no one can see math or taste math or feel math. Anyway, so why is math an argument? Well, for one thing, math existing can be tracked all the way to infinity, and infinity is God. I once saw a study on the number pi, for example. You know, that infinite number that is 3.1416, etc., that represents the ratio. I remember this by heart from school. It represents the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. Remember that? That same pi number for which the decimals, right? It goes on just infinitely without ever repeating. Well, that infinite is a way to speak of things greater than our understanding. It just has no end, right? I encourage you to find studies about pi. If I find the one I had read a couple of years back, I will attach it I will put it in the description for this video, but it is absolutely interesting to study that number and how it relates to God. Anyway, I digress. So math, hear me out. First things first, mathematical truths exist. They're objective, they are unchanging. Even someone who's an atheist knows math and understands this, right? Numbers, shapes, formulas, these are things that we discover. They're not things that we necessarily just invent out of nowhere. We discover them and they hold true regardless of our human opinion or cultural context or the year we are in, etc., etc. Math is just true. That's why it's math. Math is rules, right? And as I mentioned, it's necessary and it's universal. It applies to all, possible worlds, and it provides the foundation for the order and regularity observed in the natural world, which is what I was mentioning in the first argument at the beginning of this video. Math is the foundation to look at, analyze, understand, and experience this order and regularity in our world. So the existence of mathematical truths provides evidence for the existence of a rational and orderly universe, that itself reflects the attributes of its creator, who we Christians and other theists call God. God is understood as the transcendent foundation of logic and order and rationality, which are reflected in the realm of mathematics. So there you have the first three arguments: consciousness, order and complexity, math. They explain why we believe rationally that there is a God. Whether you agree or not, the point here is to show that believers don't just believe based on feelings, but on the observation of our world and the examination of natural laws and characteristics. So I will let this marinate for now. What we have covered today is so interesting and complex that I encourage anyone to dig deeper into all of it, to go down that rabbit hole, because I could take 25 to 30 hours to go into each argument, but that's not the purpose here. The purpose is just to expose the argument for your own benefit and mine, and to encourage you to look into it, right? So you can go down that rabbit hole on your own time, because it is deeply fascinating and it all leads to God. Next time, I will look into another list of 3 arguments for God. So let me know what you think below in the comments. If you like to share some thoughts, you can like and subscribe, do what you feel like doing. But more than that, what I would like for you to do is to share this with someone you know who might need to hear it, just as food for thought. Whether you're a non-believer who wants to open up, conversations with other non-believers, or a believer who knows someone who has been looking for answers, this could help open dialogue and put some theories to the test. So whether you agree or disagree, I hope it was interesting for you, and I will see you next time.